All right, I think
Okay,
you
so
made
the-
it. It's okay, yeah. All right.
So the meeting is called to order.
Yeah.
What is on the agenda first?
First is Colliers.
Colliers.
Yes,
Colliers,
well,
right.
yes, go ahead.
Or I shouldn't say Colliers, I should say the bridge culvert. The committee met yesterday, which is me and Joe Spagnola and Kathleen Belletri, and we reviewed 3 different proposals to the RFP. One was from Colliers,
Yes.
one was from Millennium Strategies just for grant writing, and the
Yeah.
other was from an engineering firm called HVES, who sent their proposal in, I think yesterday morning, which was a
Yes,
very
it
thorough
came in, yeah.
proposal as well. And we reviewed all 3 proposals, had a discussion. Collier's actually gone and done some site work in advance and included that in their proposal. And we called, I believe his name is Dan from Colliers, with some questions about their experience with the grant writing component. They seem to really be very familiar with obviously we've worked with the town before, but with the project, with the grant writing process, they're ready to hit the ground running and are not daunted by the January 13th deadline for this application.
Wow, that's great.
And they gave us advice as to, we need to obtain letters for them.
Yep.
One from probably Mark Molinaro, one from Deirdre, one from the fire department, one from the police, explaining the importance of the culvert and the bridge itself. It's not exactly a bridge, but everybody knows what we mean.
Yeah.
And if the non-existence or say it deteriorates where people can't travel across, and we need to explain the importance of it in the letters
There's a lot of
In order to get-
agriculture that goes
in
across
order to
that
get
bridge.
this grant
Right. Milk truck.
going. So,
Right, they said if we have, I don't know if any residents have sent any emails or phone calls or complaints about anything having to do with the accessibility of the bridge, being able to get across it or anything.
Right.
They said that would be helpful. It's a very competitive grant, is
Grant.
what they were saying. So whatever support letters we can get or an explanation of the importance of it.
and the time frame as well.
I think the
Yeah.
agricultural component might be, you might, because of the weight limit on the bridge, I don't know, Boss Haven Farm is right there. They go across that.
Oh, yeah, they would be
50 times
great
a day.
to write a
If
letter.
we could get Tim Marshall
Yeah.
maybe
How many
to,
residents do we have on that road, do you know? Between Canby and,
there's quite a few now, there's more now than
maybe
there
we send a
was.
general letter that we're applying, text, if we have contacts and say,
I don't
letters of
know,
support
I don't
would
know
be-
the people, but,
letters
and
of
somebody
support
just
would be
bought the old
appreciated.
Marshall House too, I think.
Oh, they did?
I think somebody did. I think Timmy told me somebody bought it.
Tim may know some people, neighbors he can get letters from. The more the
Tim
better.
would be a good contact.
The more the better, right?
I know this is all very preliminary, but did they say, Colliers, mention anything about how you would divert the traffic?
They did not.
That would be in their plan.
Remember, because we went to, what's his name, on the corner there to try to get some property from him, and he
That may
wouldn't-
be an
he
option
wouldn't
still.
give it to
Well,
us,
he's,
but he passed now.
right, so we may have a better option.
Yeah.
Remember, we wanted to take that little
corner.
200 feet to the right,
Yeah,
and he didn't like looking out the window.
Right.
So maybe we can do that.
his wife now moved in with the daughters down south, I think.
So we have to vote on the contract?
So, yeah, so
We
I
just-
think our recommendation
Right.
among the 3 applicants was to go forward with
With
Colliers
Colliers.
because of their familiarity with the project, worked with the town before, and they seem very ready and able
Ready and
to
able.
meet the deadlines that we need.
Yeah.
So that's your motion?
That's our motion is
Yes.
to
Accept.
Accept their proposal.
accept
Yeah.
Collier's proposal.
Second.
Second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Motion carried.
And pending that, we did sort of preliminarily, I'd said Joe's going to reach out to fire.
Mhm.
I would reach out to Mark Molinaro and Deirdre Houston to ask for
Okay.
letters. And then maybe,
I'll
Bob,
get-
if you don't
I'll
mind
get hold
reaching
of
out to
Tim.
that, whoever
Tim,
on
the
that,
farmer,
on that
sure,
road would be
absolutely.
great.
Because he keeps a lot of those tractors down in his hay barn down there, all those a lot of big tractors.
That's
Stuff.
great.
He goes across that bridge all the
And then
time.
Joe's going to reach out to the police.
Who's going to reach
Sheriff.
out to the fire department?
Joe. I am.
This Joe asked his
Maybe
name.
also Burbank's fire department. That's an
Yeah.
access road for them too.
Yeah.
But that would be helpful.
Two
That would be
fire
helpful.
companies,
Yeah.
police
Yeah.
department,
Because they were
local
saying-
residents,
yeah.
congressmen,
Good point.
local
Yeah.
legislator.
We also might want to ask Town of Unionville supervisor, because we found that when we did the first review, that there was
That's true.
it was a benefit for Unionville too.
Because it's just past. the-
Now,
Yeah,
the letters that are written, who are they addressed to?
we'll have to ask Colliers for that. Remember, we said depending on who we appointed or were elected to appoint, we would circle back and ask them for all the contact information.
Probably to the grantee, because there's the people that assessed all of the applications.
Yeah, it's whoever we're submitting the
All right,
grant to.
Correct.
I have to
Yeah,
call down, yeah.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, if Tim writes one, says it's absolutely imperative that this bridge be operational for
Right,
my
I mean, that part
agricultural.
we get, it's just who are you sending the letter to?
Right.
Right, I
It would
got
be
you.
your people that are granting you the dollars.
Right, sometimes they send them to you, right?
Right,
To
or the
submit.
town
And-
supervisor, sometimes it's to whom it may concern,
Right,
so we can,
Okay.
yeah,
Let
we'll
me
get
just
that.
I'll get that straight.
Good.
And
And
then
if we could get the name and phone number of the people who live on the road,
I don't necessarily have phone numbers for everybody, but I have addresses.
yeah,
And we could do a
Yeah,
letter.
Just do
Yeah.
a quick letter.
yeah.
And what they
And
do is
then-
they'll bundle them and then attach them to the application and they go.
And if they don't have time to write us a letter, maybe they'll at least let us use their name.
Right.
and
Or send us an
address.
email, they can
Yeah.
send us an email.
That'd be great,
Mhm.
yeah. And I'm sure most of the people on that road would be more than glad to,
yeah, I think.
get your bridge fixed.
I remember when that bridge was out in Pine Plains. Do you remember that? It was right beyond, it was out for like,
Oh, sure.
I didn't know about it, I had heard about it.
yeah, and it was, anybody who lived beyond it had to go, I mean, a
right.
good 30
That
minutes
happened on
out of the
Stanford
way.
Road when we did the culvert on Stanford.
Yeah.
We had to reroute people.
Reroute, yeah. They did that pretty quick.
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
people understand why they're doing it. It's just important though that they know that those routes are there for emergency purposes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting
thank you.
how that's going to play out.
That's great, thanks, guys, for,
Next item on the
Research.
agenda is purchasing from General Code MapWorks, which is the interactive portion of the website where people can click on their properties on a map on the website, and it tells them what they're allowed and not allowed to do in their communities. So it's $7,840. We have the money in the budget to do so, and it's purely a benefit to the community. by
yeah,
doing
it's
this.
fantastic, I
Especially
think.
for planning and zoning,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just the committees themselves.
and it would be really helpful to the
CAC.
James.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm, Yeah,
that's great.
So we just need a motion on that?
Motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Thanks, Mary, for getting that all organized. That's
You're
really,
welcome.
That's really great.
helpful.
I
a lot of
have,
companies that do a lot of stuff. don't
Yeah.
they?
I know, that's great.
We got a-
Company for
we got a
everything.
Contract ready to go, son.
just, we've taken care of that already. We just have a voucher to sign for that. And we have a voucher to pay for Collier's work for Kalon Road. But before we do that, just real quick, you all received the information from Nan
Mhm.
on the
Yeah.
addendum to the comprehensive plan. And if you have any comments on it before we have it scheduled for public hearing for Thursday, January 12th. I made an error and put Friday, January 13th, because I didn't put Friday, I just put January 13th. I was looking at the wrong calendar year. So I will be correcting that, but if there's questions that you have or any comments that you want to go to Nan before we have the public hearing, if you could just get them to us
Okay, yeah.
sooner rather than later.
And that is to have that section attached as an addendum.
As an
Yes.
addendum.
Or
And you-
appendix, whatever term
Right.
they're using.
You can make revisions
Right.
after the public hearing as many times as you want before you
Well, that's good.
before you vote on
So
it.
let's
Yeah,
So,
there's some sections that
Yeah.
need to be discussed.
I mean, if there's any public comments for this, I mean, that would be,
Oh, yeah.
that would be lovely to read before, we make revisions. final,
Exactly.
You know what I
And it's
mean?
all accessible online.
Yeah.
yes, it is. Yeah, it's posted in 3 locations on the website, so people should be able to find it. So that's all I have, other than the
Okay.
vouchers.
We have the Calan Road hearing also.
How are you?
January 11th, or is that not happening? We talked about
Let me
had-
check the date.
Yeah, they're coming in with the presentation.
on the 11th.
Yeah, Collier, yes, they're coming in.
They're coming
yeah.
in the 11th, so we will want to post that too, because I'm sure that the people on Calaren Road are going to want to.
But was it the 11th?
No, it's not the 11th.
It's later than
Thursday is the 12th.
Yeah.
No,
So,
but I think we discussed having a separate meeting just for that
for the Carlon Road,
for the Calaren
Yes.
Road
Residents,
engineering
yes.
residents at, I think it was five, I have it in my calendar.
okay.
It was not the night.
I
of
just
the
want to
board
make sure that we
Okay.
post that if
It
we
was
are.
like the 11th, I think.
It was
or
going to be a
was-
separate meeting.
A separate meeting on the 11th at, I don't know if we said 5 or 6.
But there was also a meeting that we're going to have with Colliers themselves, right? To go
That's the
over
11th.
their,
So
okay, so
this,
wait a second.
which is a public meeting.
Okay, so wait.
I don't know if there's a
I
comment.
just need to finish my train of thought.
Sorry.
Okay? You're talking about the meeting with the residents, correct, Leslie?
Yeah, so when,
Okay,
yeah.
so you're talking about the meeting with the residents, right?
No, I'm not talking, I'm talking about, we set at the last meeting, a town meeting with the engineers to discuss
Yes.
the
Yeah,
Their
report.
finding, right.
Their
So,
findings.
Their findings.
Right.
And I think we have to post that we're having that meeting so that the people on Calaren Road, I'm sure will want to, I don't know if they can comment at that meeting. It might be like the NAN meeting where people can listen, but
Okay.
I know that group on both sides is going to want to hear
Wanna be
it.
there.
And
Well-
so we should just make sure we
Okay.
post it so that we don't,
I have it in my calendar.
We're
but
getting
I
the
didn't put it in my
information
It was
out.
the 11th, and then the 12th is the full board
The
meeting.
12th.
We decided that
With-
having Collier and the full board with reorg and everything else was just
Too
too
much.
cumbersome.
Right.
We moved to the day
That's right.
forward.
Okay, that part I got. I just was sort of confused because I also realized and remembered that wasn't somebody supposed to get a
Yes.
committee together?
well, yes, we did. We reached out to, or I did, and there was not any response back or
Okay.
interest in
All right.
getting residents together. Particularly, I understand before there's anything there's any report of any kind. Maybe coming out of that meeting, it can be revisited once
Okay.
people understand what the
Okay.
recommendations are, but
Gotcha.
But whatever that posting is, so that we get it
Legit.
out so that everybody
Yeah.
feels like they had an opportunity to listen in and we weren't,
Yeah.
getting.
And then I'll
ahead.
post the Kalarn report as well?
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
would.
I mean, if we're going to open that up to the public, shouldn't we allow them to ask questions?
Well, I think what needs to happen is first, they need to see the presentation. They have an opportunity to look at the materials ahead of time. Out of that presentation, and basically those are just recommendations that Collier is making to us. We'll then have to absorb that. I think if you start to get into a back and forth, particularly if you have factions that aren't agreeing on some of it,
Yeah, you'd be
that
here
will
till
become a
midnight.
little cumbersome. So I think what will happen is let Collier make their presentation, everybody absorb it, and then schedule another meeting at which we would like to seek public feedback at a following meeting. That way everybody gets a chance to really look it
Yeah.
over,
Good
develop whatever their approach is. It may diffuse some of the controversy that's been on that road, but also people now need to see the dollars attached to what those recommendations are, which no decision will be made, but they need to see how this is kind of impacting going down the road, how we're going to reach out for monies and so on. So I think this becomes an educational one. Then the following one becomes, now let's get some more input. You already got empirical data based on science and engineering. Then you can kind of counter or agree with whatever's coming from the audience.
Right.
Yeah,
But I think it's going to be a series of meetings before we then say, okay, let's go phase 1 and 2, or let's go just phase 1. Here's the dollars, here's where we're getting the dollars from, whether it's tax increase or whether it's grants or whether it's however, and then go from there. I think it'll be too much information all at once. People will be jumping to, oh my God, $5 million or $1 million or whatever the real costs are. I think we'll take it 2 steps or 3 steps at a time, and maybe that way it keeps it a little bit more proactive and solutions
Yeah,
rather than debate.
Yeah,
You
I think
know,
that makes
We'll
good
get
sense.
feedback no matter
Yeah.
what, whether we
Yeah.
allow them to talk there or not. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll get feedback.
But I think we did with one of.
I have to
Go
go.
ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, Joe.
All right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Thanks,
You
Joe.
sign those
Merry Christmas,
vouchers?
Joe.
Joe, did you sign them? Okay.
If
See you.
they,
Take care, Joe.
Merry
We
Christmas.
did the same thing
Yeah,
with a
Merry
similar
Christmas, Joe.
group. Where we let them come in, we talked, and
yeah,
we said this is a working meeting for the public. And then the following meeting, we let the public
right,
speak.
right. I think we did that with one of the CPRC
Yes.
meetings. Maybe that, I don't know which one it was,
I had
but,
the pen too.
oh, sorry. I think so. I think that makes good sense. I wonder if Colliers
I like
has
that pen. It was
I know,
nice.
it's a nice one.
Hmm.
photographs or anything they could show
Oh, yeah,
us
they'll do.
on a screen, or I think that'd be helpful for residents to understand. One of the things that struck me in the report was about how, there are more houses on the road than there were, and then you have, driveways that are
Certain driveways,
paved,
yeah.
and how that creates a massive water runoff and washes out those sections of the road. So I think understanding that those dynamics would
I
be
mean, they had a
helpful.
ton of photos in their
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure that will all be.
Yeah, as long as, I was just
That's a
gonna
good
say, if
report.
we
That's
could
a
ask them to
Pretty
bring the,
inclusive report.
Whatever they can.
yeah, whatever, because they can do a split screen on it, I think, they can do that on a Zoom. I mean, Mary and I might need to bring Pete in for Video Ventures on that one, but.
When they presented as a potential hiree, they did a complete, remember, PowerPoint presentation with all videos and
Yeah.
showed us roads in the Adirondacks they had worked
Yeah.
on and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they'll be very good at that.
That's great.
Mary, I don't know if this is time to talk about it or not, but we were just talking about the possibility of hiring someone full-time for the park
Mm-hmm,
and using them in the off months for the highway,
okay.
and splitting the salary between rec and highway. We would be able to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
We would have to do some budget,
It would be right,
Transfers.
It would be park and pool,
Park and pool, yeah.
yeah,
park and pool line.
park and pool / highway. So we would have to find money probably from general fund, and transfer money into the budget to make it happen.
It's more the.
Because I know Joe he still is,
Looking.
yeah, I mean, he has a vacancy down in his,
Yes, yeah, and we talked about putting in money in the budget, and then he said, no, let me just stay with part-time people. So we would have to add funding for health insurance and any
Right.
other benefits.
Did you,
But his salary
Did you talk
piece
to
would
Joe
still be a
about
part-time.
that? Not
yet.
not yet, no.
Because it's part-time split,
Yes,
right? So
Yeah.
he wouldn't be encumbered with a full-time salary in his budget line. He
Right.
basically would have a, quote, part-time budget line, and the rec, or pool and park would have a part-time. But the umbrella would be the
Yeah.
benefit package.
and you know,
Yeah.
one big benefit of that is somebody that works with the highway guys part of the year. Also, we need the highway guys to help open the pool, close
Yeah.
the pool. It would help a lot because you need a lot of hands up there when it,
And then we would still go about looking at that secondary person.
hmm
And then we have the grass cutter.
right.
So there's that would achieve the goal we're looking for. But right now, you're posting for 2. We're not getting a lot of interest.
So are we, yeah, if you want to do so, you can,
I mean, I haven't talked to Joe about it
yeah.
yet.
If you want to get it in the works though and say, authorize it, and then you can talk to Joe, and if he's agreeable, then we can just go to advertising for the
And
position.
that gives you a chance to look at numbers
Right.
prior to actually talking and getting Joe sign off on it. At
Yeah.
least there's the possibility it could be done.
Right.
Yeah, you can do that.
yeah, absolutely.
You need a motion to do that right now.
Yeah.
Mike, Bob,
Second,
whole thing.
Hi.
aye.
Because he allowed us to use a
Yeah.
town truck up there this past summer, which was very beneficial to moving some stuff around. And now that we've got the new vehicle that's going to help, and then looking at the adoption of the tractors,
Yeah.
and then what Danielle is projecting to do under recreation, this would work out really well if we could pull this off.
Yes.
How did Santa go at the firehouse?
Very
It
well.
went well.
I'm sure.
She had 130 preliminary gingerbread houses sold, a lot of people showed up. But the school district was getting hit with that throat virus that the kids are
Yes,
getting.
yeah.
So the numbers that were supposed to come depleted a little bit. And then there were probably, I was there was probably 20 walk-ins just to see Santa.
Oh, that's great.
But it gave them ideas for next year.
Yep.
And Danielle's already kind of making notes on how to improve for next year. But in fact, I saw a notice out here, if you have any Christmas lights and stuff that you're not going to be using in the future,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
donate them to recreation. You
Sure.
can use that for decoration purposes and so on.
We're looking to do a winter wonderland at the
Yes.
park.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's
Some of the other
awesome.
towns have done them, where you see big light displays and such,
Yeah.
so,
almost like a drive.
yeah, so that's what we're
You
hoping.
know what
That's
you could tell
awesome.
Danielle, if I forget to tell her, is that St. Joe's once a year.
She
has
was
that.
there already,
She was there.
yeah,
I mean, you buy, stuff for $5 for a box of lights that are all, they're
Yeah.
brand new, some
Yeah.
of them.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So if
great.
you know-
People donate that stuff to Uncle Al's,
Yeah.
and they have that, it's a whole auditorium full of
Yeah.
Christmas stuff.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
amazing.
there's nativity scenes that look like they just came out of the box for $5 and,
Yeah.
things like
Oh, that's
that.
great.
It's amazing. I put the Christmas trees together for them this year that they were selling.
Oh, is that right?
There's-
Yeah.
Takes more labor to put them together than it does to, but they sold every one of them. I mean, they put, one was missing a little piece of the top, so they put $5 on it. Somebody walked in, carried it right out before somebody that was helping set up took it
Yeah.
for $5.
Yeah, but we did receive 1 or 2 donations of illuminated snowmen and things like
Yeah,
that.
right.
So if you know people that are changing their Christmas displays or whatever, cleaning their attics, cleaning their garage, we'll be happy to accept anything that's, no blow-ups, but any other type of winter light-up stuff, so,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So this person that, whoever we hire,
Mhm.
do we have a number in mind? I mean, like,
I have.
we were paying Teddy, what, $20 an hour?
Yep, I have to talk with Lois and Joe,
Yeah,
because we had talked about 17 to 20, depending, for the highway part-time position. So I would say probably in that range. Yeah. Yeah, and then,
I think in selling any of these positions, you gotta sell not just the salary, you gotta sell the entire package. What's the
Sure.
value of working?
Yeah.
Not only the salary, but you get vacation periods, the benefit packages, you put that all together, plus the ability to go into a retirement program.
yes, I was going to say.
Just like the
next
lifeguards. Those lifeguards, some of them who have put in 6, 7 years, if they were to choose after college to come back into the state, they get grandfathered
Little
those
grandfather
years.
those years,
That
yeah,
helps.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I'll talk with Lois about that.
And then
We can do that.
talk to Joe. and
Yeah.
Get that kind of streamlined, especially if the person's got special talents on driver's licenses and stuff. like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
If they're retired from another company, they require that, some of the things Joe's looking for.
Yeah, those,
They're
the
just
new
looking at
trucks we
this
got
as-
don't require CDLs.
I want to be closer to home.
Yeah.
Right.
Another reason Joe got those new trucks, they're huge,
Oh, yeah.
but they don't require CDLs. They're
Right.
just below
That blue
the,
blue one is nice, the new blue one.
yeah.
And he used it, I asked them down there. And they said they've used it on the dirt roads and they work perfectly on the dirt roads.
Yeah,
Great.
They're not so heavy that they're
Yeah.
dragging dirt. And he says that's the way to go. You don't need,
for here, yeah,
maybe you need 1 or 2 of the big ones.
Yeah.
But the rest
Like
of the
for
fleet,
Bengal Road or,
these small,
yeah.
Yeah, it worked well.
yeah,
Well, let's
just
hope,
got nice deals on
let's hope the weather doesn't really torment us the next couple of
it.
days.
Well, it's gonna be
Yeah.
rain. It's gonna be
Yeah.
rain, so guess what? Clark Road's probably gonna be wet, all the other ones are gonna be wet. It's
I'm
gonna
gonna-
get up to 3 inches maybe of rain.
The,
And then quick freeze.
I know, the quick freeze is what.
That's what I'm worried
supposed to
about.
drive to Rhode Island today. and I
They're
was
already
looking at
canceling flights.
and go to this Nutcracker and then drive back, and I'm
When?
really worried. Tonight, I'm not worried about today driving, it's tomorrow
Tomorrow.
coming back.
Yeah, you might
Wow.
They said the 95 corridor is gonna have.
be, I told my
It's gonna be
my
rain.
sister was supposed to come over
But it's-
tomorrow. I
so
told
in
her
Rhode
to
Island,
wait till
starting at-
Saturday.
Yep.
3 o'clock in Providence, so the performance is actually tomorrow, but I couldn't do it up and back with
Yeah.
kids in the car for that. So we're spending the night tonight, and
You may have
It
to
starts
spend
at
the
like
night.
3 o'clock, it drops to 22 degrees
On Saturday,
on Friday.
On Friday.
Friday night.
Friday.
Right, no, at 3 o'clock at the afternoon on Friday.
Yeah, it's
in
gonna
Rhode
drop.
Island, It drops to 22 degrees. I'm thinking that's when I hit the road. I don't know if that's a
Well,
bad,
sometimes on the roads, it's that kind of quick freeze. If they treat it.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
You just gotta-
It
you
kind of
just-
dries
Really
them quickly.
slowly.
You have to go on the main,
I
you
know.
can't take the
95.
shortcut.
Yeah.
No.
You go 95.
No, I go all the back.
Yeah.
I go
Yeah,
all the
That's the
back
best
roads
way
in
to go, yeah, I
Connecticut,
know.
I'll tell you another route. It's
Really?
better and safer.
Okay,
You've been up 1,000
Yeah.
times.
So
right?
steep, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I've been the back roads, I've been this other route, the other route.
Yeah.
On snow nights and stuff,
Yeah.
much better.
Any other business? No. Okay.
Think so, Mary.
well, the gator for the park is all in motion. It had to go to the John Deere company, the paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy at Adams told me it takes them 2 weeks before they process it, and then we just drop the check off and they'll deliver the machine, so it's
Okay.
no problem. And the lawn tractor is we're in Briggs getting ready for the guy to mow.
Perfect.
It comes quick.
Yeah. Well, now that winter's here and the days are getting shorter
Yeah.
or longer,
Longer,
yeah.
yeah.
I just need a motion to pay these 2 vouchers.
So move. Second.
Aye.
Thank you. And motion to close?
Motion,
Second. Aye.
Aye.
T3.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. Let's
So-
just.
So
Merry
Mary, what is
Christmas
the
to
process?
Colliers.
You'll reach out to Colliers and tell them or?
Yes,
Okay.
I was not aware of the meeting. Chrissy didn't tell me about it.